Masako, stop! You're out of control! Well, what if you're right? Cause today's video's a what if video, yeah! What did you think I was talking about? Hey guys, MasakoX here, and we're gonna end off what has become a what if week with a doozy of a discussion. I am going to pitch something that is truly ballsy. What if Goku went Super Saiyan when Krillin died the first time in the original Dragon Ball? Masako, are you feeling okay? Now, I know this idea sounds very silly for many reasons. First off, at the time of writing Dragon Ball and the King Piccolo saga, Toriyama had not only not come up with the idea of Super Saiyans, but he hadn't even made it concrete whether Goku was an alien or not. Granted, Goku was pretty unusual, being a monkey boy and all, but in the Dragon World Earth, things are a lot more weirder than they are here. They had a dog as king, so a boy with a tail is relatively normal in that supernatural world. Obviously, we're going to have to take certain liberties like I did in my What If Piccolo Fused Early video. If we had to write this story with the restrictions of a manga that was befitting to something that was going to be seen by editors and audiences alike, then Goku would only become as powerful as the story would allow. As in, he would become powerful enough to defeat his enemy, but his usage of that power would be vastly restricted. But if we removed publishing restrictions and wrote a story that was pretty out there, but still made sense in the Dragon World scheme of things, then I think we might get something that's pretty compelling. Mind you, the ideas and physics of the Dragon World are pretty lax already, so I think going a bit more out there won't do anyone any harm. Masako, stop, please. Akira Toriyama didn't have any idea about Super Saiyans at the time, so why even bother? Yes, that is true. But Toriyama also likes to cut corners. Toriyama originally created the idea of Super Saiyan to save him and his assistant time when it came to inking his hair. Plus it gave an easy implication that Goku had gotten a lot stronger. Now if you see my other videos, then you'll know that Toriyama likes to make things convenient. So let's roll with that. Now before we begin, I know this idea will never happen in Dragon Ball because it didn't make sense, Toriyama hadn't written the idea at the time, so it wasn't in the pipe dream. But let's just say for the sake of an argument that it did. Are you ready? Let's go. We all know how Goku first attained the Super Saiyan transformation, but if you're not aware of the exact details, then allow me to give you a brief overview. After Goku had mowed Frieza down with a spirit bomb, he and his friends thought that the nightmare was over, but oh no, they were wrong. Frieza escaped death and promptly struck Piccolo down, as well as blowing Krillin up into pieces. This latter action was a big enough catalyst to spark inside Goku one of the most recognizable transformations in anime history. To this day, I still get goosebumps when I watch that scene. Now let's take that imagery and hold on to it as we go back in time to age 753. We are coming to the end of the 22nd Tenkaichi Budokai. Tenshinhan has taken victory away from the hands of Goku. Everything's going pretty well. However, King Piccolo and the Pilaf gang are about to turn Goku's life upside down. Piccolo's child Tambourine descends upon the tournament, and before Goku knows it, he senses that his best friend Krillin is in trouble. He runs to his friend's aid, only to find him motionless on the ground, dead. It's a horrific sight for everybody, but it's especially traumatic for Goku. He has never experienced the death of a loved one before, or he doesn't really remember the experience clearly. Grandpa Gohan died when Goku was much younger, so he might not really remember the feeling. Now in the anime, Goku quickly flies off in pursuit of Tambourine with the Dragon Radar. The ensuing fight really doesn't go well for Goku because he was quite hungry, he never got to eat, and so he wasn't at his prime. Tambourine promptly whoops Goku and leaves him for dead. Yeah, not exactly a productive way to avenge your friend, Goku. Let's step back to the moment when Goku found Krillin. Instead of getting just a little bit angry, there is something that is triggered inside Goku's head. This emotional cataclysm sparks something inside of Goku. His Saiyan blood is activated, but he's not becoming a great ape this time. Oh no, something different's gonna happen. He lets out a scream that can be heard for miles, one of sheer primal agony. The young monkey boy who had been so polite before is now unrecognizable. He is, unbeknownst to his pals and himself, a Super Saiyan. He is still clouded with a red mist like in the anime, but this time that cloud is much denser. Okay, Masako, I'll go with what you're saying. Is there a way to find out how much more powerful a Super Saiyan Kid Goku is in comparison to a base Kid Goku? Well, actually, yes. With the aid of Daizenshu 7, we can work out the power level of a Super Saiyan Kid Goku. Now yes, I know that there are a lot of issues here. Would Goku's childlike body be able to cope with the sheer power that a Super Saiyan form exerts? Well, that is a valid concern. Toriyama never anticipated such a thing to happen at this time of the manga's writing and during the anime's screening. However, let's just say that Goku's body could handle this form. We have seen his kid body use the Super Saiyan transformation in GT, as well as his descendant Goku Jr., who wasn't as strong as his ancestor. And yes, I know, GT isn't canon, but it is still something to take into consideration. This what if isn't canon either, so just roll with it, okay? Goku's power level at the beginning of the King Piccolo saga is about 180. This is written in Daizenshu 7 as well as being confirmed in a 1989 edition of Weekly Shonen Jump. Now going from similar guides, the power multiplier of a Super Saiyan grade 1 is times 50. If we were to multiply 180 by 50, we get 9,000. What, 9,000? I don't think you need me to say this, but that means that Goku could pretty much take out anyone in Dragon Ball. Hell, in this form, at this point in the story, he could actually take out Raditz and Nappa. To make things a little fairer though, let's just say that Goku's weaker body couldn't handle Super Saiyan for very long, much like Kaioken in Z. This first exertion of Super Saiyan leaves Goku utterly exhausted, and the gang have to take care of him and bring him back to consciousness. They're also going to have to help him regain his strength. How about that feast, eh? That's just sitting around there not being used, and I'm pretty sure even an emotionally distraught Goku's not going to say no to a pile of food. As they still have the Dragon Radar in this case, they believe it would make sense to try and gather the Dragon Balls to bring Krillin back to life. Now in retrospect, would Goku have gained a Zenkai boost because of his exertion to become Super Saiyan? Maybe. That first transformation would have been pretty draining. I believe that this Zenkai would have been roughly the equivalent of him drinking the Ultra Divine Water. So let's say that his power level goes from 180 to 260. Actually, let's make it 220 to be on the conservative side. Now Goku isn't able to just call upon Super Saiyan again right there and then. He still has to help the gang find the Dragon Balls. During this investigation, he is still trying to figure out what just happened and how to call upon that power again. Goku is a fast learner. He learnt the Kamehameha within minutes, and it took Roshi years to do so. Granted, Goku only was able to put out a really tiny Kamehameha, but it still was one. Based upon that, it wouldn't take Goku that long to actually activate Super Saiyan more effectively. Now think back to the anime and the Namek saga when Goku powered down from Super Saiyan for the first time. When Frieza didn't take too kindly with him leaving during the fight, he was able to power back up to Super Saiyan again relatively quick. Let's work with that here. Goku and the gang would gather the Dragon Balls and eventually run into Tambourine and Symbol, the children of Piccolo. Goku's base power now would still be lower than the children of Piccolo, but like in the anime, a Kamehameha to the face would still be pretty deadly. King Piccolo senses the death of his children and comes down to deal with Goku. Goku is fired up right now, and when he comes across the Demon King, he is determined to avenge his best friend. He powers up to Super Saiyan and King Piccolo is no match here. He is thrown around like a rag doll. I don't believe that Goku would kill King Piccolo on the spot. He would throw him about a bit and beat him up some more, just letting out that rage about Krillin's death. Piccolo would try to use his strongest beam attack against Goku, but it would be absolutely nothing when compared to Goku's angry Kamehameha. Both he and the beam are overwhelmed and he is just completely and utterly vaporized. Goku's not thinking straight here, he is blinded by rage. He's still not gotten the hang of Super Saiyan's rage. He's currently a maverick, uncontrollable, trying to avenge Krillin's death and being completely irrational. He's not going to think about the consequences, of which there are a lot. But once again, the power is all too much and he falls down unconscious and powers down. With King Piccolo burnt to a crisp, that means no Piccolo Jr. Yeah, that's a major character omission. Not only that, but Kami would be dead too. He shared a lifeline with King Piccolo, and since King Piccolo wasn't able to spawn the sun and therefore continue the line, there'd be no connection, and so Kami would just fade away. And then the Dragon Balls would be turned to stone. That's a major problem. I don't think Goku meant to do that. That means they can't bring Krillin back to life. I guess Goku's gonna have to deal with the consequences, like I said. Goku's new form is not to be messed with. He let it get the better of him. For now though, I think they're gonna just try and cut their losses and just take stock with the fact that an evil villain has been thwarted. Goku would use this time of peace to try and gain control of the Super Saiyan transformation. He's going to feel terrible about Krillin's death and the fact that he pretty much has stopped him coming back, at least for the time being. He would go to Korin for advice, and Korin would suggest for him to go up to the top of the lookout and try and find some answers there. Now remember, Goku can't fly at this point, so he's going to have to use the power pole to get all the way up to the lookout like he did in the anime. He then comes across Mr. Popo, and he eventually agrees to train Goku in place of Kami. Years pass, and Goku is now an adult. He comes back for the 23rd Tenkaichi Budokai, now having been able to get a handle of the Super Saiyan transformation, despite not knowing what it's meant to be called or even what it is. He just calls the form him getting mad. Okay, fair enough, that kinda makes sense. Goku would beat Ten Shinhan in the final, and therefore get his own back from Ten Shinhan beating him in the previous tournament. The rest of Dragon Ball would play out as per normal, only without the Goku Piccolo fight because he doesn't exist. Which is a real shame because that fight was really good. Now we get to Z. Goku's power level would be slightly higher than it is in the anime. I'd say roughly about 500 in comparison to the 334 that it is in the anime around chapter 199. Raditz would still come to Earth and try and convince Goku to join him and the Frieza forces. Naturally, Goku refuses. Raditz then tells his younger brother about his Saiyan origins and then tries to kidnap his son, Gohan. Yeah, that ain't gonna go well, Raditz. You dead. Goku powers up to Super Saiyan and then prevents Raditz from kidnapping Gohan. Now remember, Raditz's scouter is open. Nappa and Vegeta would hear the whole thing play out. Raditz would be left dumbstruck and utter that his younger brother was the legendary Super Saiyan. Before Raditz is blown away, he shouts out that there are stronger Saiyans out there who would take the Earth in the name of Lord Frieza. They will come and destroy the planet. Would Nappa and Vegeta actually go to Earth, having potentially discovered the legendary Super Saiyan? Now I believe that Vegeta would be intensely curious to see what this Super Saiyan is made of. There is no mention of Dragon Balls because remember, they don't exist at the moment. Now with Goku still alive and having never gone to the other world, we would be missing two things of importance. The Kaioken and the Spirit Bomb. Goku didn't go to King Kai's planet and learn those techniques. Vegeta and Nappa arrive on Earth a year later and the Z fighters have been training in preparation. However, I'm not sure whether Gohan would be taking part in the training. He hasn't been kidnapped by Raditz or Piccolo, so he hasn't been introduced to the art of training, so I doubt that Chi-Chi would let their son fight. Needless to say, Nappa and Vegeta are no match for Super Saiyan Goku, and therefore the match ends pretty quickly. So what now? Well, we could get those Dragon Balls back. They were kinda neat. Goku goes up to the lookout and asks Mr. Popo if there is a way to bring the Dragon Balls back. He says that the best place to look is Namek because that's where Kami's old spaceship came from. Would Goku know about gravity training having never gone to King Kai's planet? I believe that Goku would have asked Bulma for help because she's smart like that. He knows that weighted clothing helps a lot, so maybe Bulma could take that and make it even more effective. She would either create even heavier clothing or devise upon the idea of gravity training, because it's just like weight training only without the weights. Capsule Corp recovers Goku's old space pod as well as Kami's old spaceship, and then put that together to form the ship that Goku uses to go to Namek. Now would Gohan go to Namek? I really don't think so, because at this point, he's not really fought and there's no reason for him to fight because nobody's discovered about his innate potential power. If you discount the Dead Zone movie, of course. I could go on and detail the events of the Namek saga onwards, but that would make for a very, very long video. Perhaps we'll save that up for another time. I'll include a poll up there to see whether you're interested in a part 2 to this discussion. Either way, if Goku went Super Saiyan as a child, things would be vastly different. There would be no Krillin, Kami, Piccolo, and Gohan's potential would have never been discovered. As for Vegeta, it really kind of depends whether Goku let him go or not after their fight, and whether Vegeta managed to activate his Great Ape form. Personally, I believe that Vegeta would have either been killed or left incapacitated after the Gallic Gun Kamehameha struggle. Remember, a Kamehameha emitted from a Super Saiyan would be more effective than a ×4 Kaioken Kamehameha. Okay, here's an idea. I'll leave a poll. Would Vegeta have lived or died after a Super Saiyan Angry Kamehameha? I'll include the poll results in the next part, and therefore whether Vegeta is in the story or not. So what do you guys think? Did you like what I had to say? Would you like to see a part 2 to this discussion? Leave a comment below and let's get this discussion going. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. Until the next one, be sure to like and subscribe. Catch you later.